This video is sponsored by Incogni. The fan reception to the most recent Disney Plus Star Wars series, Obi-Wan Kenobi, has by all outwardly measures not been kind. Neither Lucasfilm nor parent company Disney can be pleased with this tepid reception, as this by rights should have been the single biggest, most anticipated Star Wars project for the foreseeable future. It's even rumored to serve as the launching pad for a number of spin-off series, most notably a Reva spin-off series. According to Hollywood Trades and surrounding entertainment media complex, however, there might not be any real cause for concern at all this though, as what looks like a tepid response could in reality be caused by a small number of bitter fans review bombing the series. Someone who flies directly in the face of this messaging, though, is none other than Forbes Magazine, who broke rank and published an article titled, "No Disney, a Reva Obi-Wan Kenobi spinoff is a terrible idea." While there are many articles like that in the blog sphere, it being published in Forbes is significant, far more significant than one might think. In this video, we'll break down why, as we first go through the Reva spinoff rumors, Forbes breaking rank by taking them on, and finally, why that may be an indication of a major shift to come. In short, of all the articles written about Star Wars since the premiere of Obi-Wan Kenobi, this one from Forbes stands out. Now, you might have seen it already, and I'm sure you've seen many others to boot, and what should really stand out to you outside of their content is their advertisements. Ever notice how they seem oddly personal to you? Like if you search for a loan or a medical issue or something to that end, you'll suddenly get no end of advertisements for services you've never visited or asked for that nonetheless target you based on your recent searches. Well, this is no coincidence. Your personal information is being sold online without you even knowing about it. There are thousands of data brokers aggregating your personal info gathered during all of your regular browsing, only to resell it to unknown businesses who can use it as they see fit. Making matters even worse, this isn't restricted to just your regular browsing activities. Ever think about why you get as many spam emails as you do? Well, that would be because at some point in time, you signed up for a newsletter or signed up to some website or other service that resold your data, including your full name, your email address, phone number, home address, shopping habits, your online aliases, and so much more. In fact, all of that is sold at a premium, but all you get out of it is spam, and a good chance your data sooner or later will be leaked in a data breach. The good news, though, is that you have the right to request that data brokers delete the information they have about you. The bad news is that it would take you years to do it manually. The really good news, then, is that Incogni, this video sponsor, can do it for you. Incogni helps you protect your privacy and take your personal data off the market by reaching out to data brokers on your behalf, request your personal data be removed, and deal with the objections as they come. Best of all, the whole process is automated. The only thing you have to do is sign up. Grant Incogni the right to work on your behalf and sit back, relax while they do all the work for you, keeping you up to date with the progress every step of the way. Since this channel is sponsored by Surfshark, who just happens to be the ones behind Incogni, we naturally have a deal for you. The first 100 of our viewers to use our code MIDNIGHT at the link in the description will get 20% off Incogni. So head down to the description and get your data protected now. With that, let's look into what first spurred the Forbes editorial, namely the rumors of a Reva spin-off series. In a June 9th exclusive, Screen Geek wrote, "The Disney Plus series Obi-Wan Kenobi has been one of the most successful shows on the streaming platform thus far. While the Book of Boba Fett didn't quite pan out as Disney hoped, it's clear that there's still plenty of appeal in the Star Wars brand. As such, there are already a variety of other Star Wars shows on the horizon, including many more in development. Now it appears that we can add an Obi-Wan Kenobi spin-off centered around the character Reva to that list. Our sources have told us that a Reva spin-off series starring Moses Ingram is in development for Disney Plus. We were unable to get any plot details regarding the spin-off, so it's unclear if it'll be set before or after Obi-Wan Kenobi. A second season for Obi-Wan Kenobi is reportedly already in the works, so it seems reasonable that Reva could survive long enough for her own spin-off to take place after. Screen Geek then saw it fit to remind its readers, anyone referencing the story in other outlets, of the accepted narrative for why the series is failing with fans. The character Reva, otherwise known as the third sister, is played by Moses Ingram. The actress has already been victim of immense backlash following her appearance in Obi-Wan Kenobi. Nevertheless, many fans have become fond of her performance, and it's clear she could lead a viable spin-off. Here it should be added that, as we covered in an earlier video, there's been an immense show of support for actress Moses Ingram. The extent of the backlash which spurred that support, namely the backlash aimed at Moses Ingram personally, can fairly be described as immense, is a matter of some debate. No one argues that the character of Reva has not been well received, but this has a lot to do with how the character has been written by the show's writers and producers, and even that pales when compared to the reception to the writing of Obi-Wan himself. That is where the backlash can fairly and justifiably be described as immense. But can we even be sure a Reva spinoff really is in development? As of the making of this video, Screen Geek's scoop has yet to be confirmed by the trades. Still, the scoop would appear to be credible enough that the financial publication Forbes chose to respond to it, just not in a manner which will resonate well within the halls of Lucasfilm. In a June 11th editorial by Eric Kane titled, "No Disney, a Reva Obi-Wan Kenobi spinoff is a terrible idea," Forbes perfectly echoed fan sentiment and accurately depicted the reasons for whatever backlash there has been, writing, "Obi-Wan Kenobi is off to a rough start. While critic reviews for the show have been largely positive, your humble narrator a notable exception, Rotten Tomatoes shows that only 54% of fans reportedly like the show, compared to 87% of critics. Many fans are simply confused and disappointed for one reason or another. These reasons range from the strange editing and direction to the plot itself, which is riddled with plot holes and bizarre narrative choices. Obi-Wan Kenobi, Ewan McGregor, remains the highlight of the show, much as he was the highlight of the abysmal prequel Star Wars movies. But the show often feels like it's being written for characters other than our titular hero, namely Reva, Moses Ingram, Leia, Vivian Lyra Blair, who was not yet 10 when they filmed this, and Tala, Indira Varma. This is starting to feel like the Reva, Leia, Tala show. 3 female characters whose names all have 4 letters and sound almost the same. Reva, Leia, Tala. Like a spell you might chant at a Wiccan seance. Or an incantation young Willow Offgood might take a crack at with Finn Razel's wand. Disney's Obi-Wan Kenobi show has been a very mixed bag, with a very disappointing Vader showdown, a ridiculous rescue mission plucked straight out of A New Hope, and lots of other foibles. Obi-Wan himself has been overshadowed by the side characters of the show, whether that's the precocious little imp Leia, or the spy Tala, or the Inquisitors, who are all ridiculous, cartoonish buffoons except for Reva, and we'll get to her in a moment. Obi-Wan is understandably leery of using the Force in the first couple of episodes when he's still trying to remain hidden, and I even understand that he's rusty, but he ends up needing saving more than once and has, throughout most of the season, spent most of his time looking a little bewildered and lost. I know he needs an arc, and going from rusty Jedi in hiding to badass Jedi Master could be satisfying, but it just hasn't been executed very well. Meanwhile, other than Tala, who I like, though I'm not sure she's been written terribly well, the other 2 main female characters are incredibly annoying. I've described Leia as overcooked, and I mean it. She's too precocious, too clever for her age, and she seems more like 7 than 10, and just too much the new Grogu, but much chattier. Maybe this would work better if the show let Obi-Wan and Leia actually have more time to develop a relationship, but it's just all over the place. Third sister Reva, meanwhile, is just not working for me at all. I've compared her to the much more sinister and fascinating character second sister Trilla from Jedi Fallen Order. Trilla was a terrific character and well cast. Elizabeth Grosjean is perfect in the role. I worry that Reva is going down the same path as Trilla, who, spoilers for Fallen Order, had a brief moment of redemption at the end of the video game before Darth Vader showed up and executed her for her failure. Vader was about to do the same to Reva in Episode 4, simply for screwing up and letting Obi-Wan get away, but let her go when she revealed she'd put a tracker on him, which could lead them all to the rebels, though why Obi-Wan wouldn't take Leia home is beyond me, and the tracker is in her droid, so... Reva, I believe, will also have a redemptive arc. After all, Obi-Wan is cribbing plenty from Fallen Order already, and become a good guy, and maybe, probably since Obi-Wan is not the hero of his own show, become the hero of the day as well, paving the way for her to get her very own spin-off on Disney+. Or at least, that's the rumor. As reported by Screen Geek, vis-a-vis sources, so take it with a grain of salt, there is talk of a Reva live-action spin-off coming down the pipeline. I think this is a terrible idea because I find the character so jarring, and because, let's face it, if neither Star Wars fan favorites Boba Fett nor Obi-Wan can successfully carry their own show, how will a little-known and not much like Inquisitor make it work? Yes, Moses Ingram has suffered from toxic fan hatred and uncalled for abuse. I'm sure some of this is sexist, some of it is racist, some of it is trolling, and much of it is from people who love to take their anger and fanaticism out on actors who deserve no such abuse. On the other hand, as a movie and TV critic, I have to say I do not love the casting choice, or the character, or her story so far. Perhaps with a better script, Reva would be a more interesting character, or perhaps with a different actor, her character would be more believable. Frankly, the whole show feels deeply pointless, and I have little faith in any potential spin-offs. This Forbes editorial written by Eric Kane is so to the point that it, for the most part, could have been written by ourselves or any of our fellow creators in this little corner of YouTube. It could have been written by online outlets like That Park Place, Bounding into Comics, or Bleeding Fool, or any other independent outlet. And we stress independent because no access media publication would ever write an editorial like this and risk losing their access to Disney over it. But this editorial wasn't published in what you would call an independent outlet. Instead, it was published in Forbes Magazine. And that means that this packs an extra punch. Let's see why. Consider for a moment the recent Vanity Fair Star Wars special we've been covering in earlier videos, which rewrote history in order to cast Kathleen Kennedy in a better light. Vanity Fair didn't publish that of their own volition because they needed some pages to fill, or because they tried to reach a new audience of Star Wars fans. Because as it stands, the overlap between Star Wars fans and Vanity Fair readers is fairly limited. No, they published it because it was a commissioned assignment paid for by Lucasfilm, timed to coincide with the release of Obi-Wan, and aimed at cleaning Kathleen Kennedy's name in her private and professional social circle, which actually does overlap with Vanity Fair's readership. Circling back to the Forbes editorial, it is unlikely that some random contributor wrote what amounts to a hit piece on Lucasfilm just for shits and giggles, and then uploaded it to a major worldwide financial publication with the same willy-nilly as if it were a blog post. No, just like the Vanity Fair puff piece, there is an intended message behind this Forbes editorial, just a very different one. Forbes is a financial publication, and in so being, this editorial speaks directly to Hollywood's investors, and more specifically, to Disney's major shareholders, all of whom will be regular readers of Forbes magazine. The significance of this editorial, then, is that it directly undercuts and contradicts the message that is being presented in the Hollywood trades and surrounding entertainment media complex, instead breaking down in minute detail to investors and shareholders directly exactly why a series that should have been a slam dunk is failing so badly with actual audiences. Who might be behind this message? That we can't say for sure. But with reference to our earlier coverage, it wouldn't be the first time that articles which ultimately turned out to be the benefit to Bob Chapek ended up in Forbes. In light of the recent firing of Peter Rice, one of the most influential activists within Disney, perhaps the most influential, the mere existence of this Forbes editorial suggests a major cleanup behind the scenes at Disney is in progress, because it will only further emphasize to investors and shareholders why a cleanup is needed. Do you think that might be what's going on here? Let me know in the comments, and before you go, remember to protect your data from data brokers who profit on your expense. Get Incogni from Surfshark. The first 100 of our viewers to use our code MIDNIGHT at the link in the description will get 20% off.